friends, welcome to the third lecture in the series of network analysis and synthesis. Friends, in this particular lecture we will be discussing about the concept of source transformation and duality. Now, what is source transformation? Now, before starting with the discussing on the concept of source transformation, we will be discussing about the different types of sources, that is independent voltage sources, current sources, then dependent voltage and current sources. Then we will see what is what is the need for source transformation. Then we will discuss about the practical sources. Then we will discuss some problems on source transformation. Then summary of the steps involved in source transformation. Then duality and its principle and some problems based on duality. So, starting with this, we have voltage and current sources. All the circuit elements can be classified according to the relationship of the current through the element to the voltage across the element. Now, for example, suppose we take a case of a resistance. Suppose we take case of a resistance R, across which we have applied certain potential V 1 and V 2 at the two terminals of this resistance, and due to this potential drop across this resistance, certain current I flows through this. So, this element can be the voltage difference can be related to current in terms of the value of the element. So, all the circuit elements can be classified according to the relationship of current and voltage. So, if we try to see the relationship between current and voltage for this particular element, we see that there is a linear relationship. So, elements in which the voltage is completely independent of the current or current is independent of the voltage, we term them as independent sources. Some special kind of sources for which either the source voltage or current depends upon a current or voltage somewhere else in the circuit, then those sources are referred to as dependent sources. So, how we can differentiate between a dependent and a independent source? In case of independent current source or independent voltage source, the voltage is completely independent of current, that is no dependence of current for that particular voltage, and for current, in case of current, it is independent of voltage, that is no dependence on voltage. But in case of dependent sources, it is just opposite, that is the voltage will be depending on some portion of the current at somewhere in the network, and similarly for current dependent current source, it will be some current or voltage depending upon somewhere in the network. Dependent sources are used a great deal in electronics to model DC and AC behavior of transistors, especially in amplifier circuits. So, now these dependent sources will be mostly used in modeling the AC analysis and the DC behavior of transistors when we are using these transistors as an amplifiers. Then we start with the next part of this topic, that is the independent voltage source. An independent voltage source is characterized by a terminal voltage which is completely independent of the current through it, and its schematic symbol is as shown in this figure. So, this is some representation of independent sources. So, generally if in a network we try to identify the nature of source, whether it is an independent source or a dependent source. So, if we analyze that we are representing a source by a circle like this. So, this is our independent voltage source. So, this will be our independent voltage source, and similarly if we represent it in this manner. So, this will be independent current source. So, easily by looking at the schematic symbol, if we are using schematic symbol which is circle in nature, then it will be a independent voltage source or a current source. So, similarly, this is our AC source. this is the AC source. So, this is how we can represent a independent voltage source. The independent voltage source is an ideal source and does not represent exactly any real physical device, because the ideal sources could theoretically deliver an infinite amount of energy from its terminal. Next, an independent voltage source with a constant terminal voltage is often referred as an independent DC voltage source and can be represented by either of the symbols as shown. So, this can be the representation of independent DC voltage source, or this can be a representation of independent DC voltage source. Another ideal source which we will need is an independent current source. Here the current through the element is completely independent of the voltage across it, and the symbol for an independent current source is shown in this figure. So, we have already discussed that this is how we represent an independent current source. This is how we represent an independent current source. Next, moving on, we have dependent sources. On the other hand, another kind of ideal sources called a dependent or current control sources, in which the source quantity is determined by a voltage or current existing at some other location in the network being analyzed. So, in case of dependent or the control sources, we will be having those sources which will be depending on voltage or current existing at some other portion of the network. Sources such as these appear in the equivalent electrical models for many electronic devices such as transistor, operational amplifiers and integrated circuits. To distinguish between dependent and independent sources, we introduce a diamond symbol as shown in this figure. So, in case of dependent sources, we represent them by diamond symbol, and the independent sources were represented by circular symbol. So, these are some of the representation for the dependent sources. So, this is a current controlled current source, because the controlling quantity is I x, which will be present at some other portion of the network. Then this will be our it will be voltage controlled current source, then it will be voltage controlled voltage source, and this will be current controlled voltage source. So, these are some representation for the dependent sources or the controlled sources, where the controlling quantity may be voltage or current and the source may be current or voltage. Now, we are moving on to the, after discussing upon these sources, we now start with the next part, that is the source transformation. Now, source transformation is a method of replacing any voltage source in a circuit by its equivalent current source, or a current source by its equivalent voltage source. Now, we have already studied that generally a voltage source is represented by some series resistance or internal resistance R s in this manner. Or we can say that it may be in this manner. So, this is our practical representation of a voltage source, and this is our representation of a current source. So, these are the two representation for the practical voltage source and practical current source. Now, this is our series resistance R s, and in case of current source, this is our parallel resistance, and ideally for ideal voltage source, the value of R s will be 0 and the value of R p must be infinite. Ideally, the voltage source has 0 internal resistance and a current source has infinite internal resistance. Now, they go back to this slide and consider this particular circuit and write down KVL for this equation, we get the equation V s equals to I L into R s minus plus V L. So, from here if we try to find out V L, it will be equal to V s minus I L into R s. V L equals to, and now we try to plot this equation and we get this equation V L equals to V s minus I L into R s. So, now if we plot this equation, then it will be a linear equation, and on V L axis, that is on x axis we have taken the voltage, load voltage, and on y axis we have taken the load current V L and I L. So, if we try to plot this equation, then on V L axis I L will be 0, we get V L equals to V s, and on I L axis V L will be 0 and we get I L equals to V s by R s. Now, these two currents, these two voltages are, and the currents are known as open circuit voltage and short circuit current, represented as VOC and ISC. Similarly, if we consider the circuit for a practical current source, then when we terminate this current source with the load resistance and try to write down the equation, we get this equation I L equals to I s minus V L upon R p. Now, again the plot of this equation is shown in this figure, where we have find out again the open circuit load voltage and short circuit load current. So, open circuit load voltage comes out to be I s into R p, and the short circuit load current comes out to be I s. Then we go for practical sources and see what is the condition required for the two practical sources to be identical. So, we have a voltage source and a current source. This is our voltage source and this is our current source, and now we are trying to find out the equivalence between these two conditions. So, what we can do is we can find out the value of load voltage in both the cases. For first case, we get the load voltage as V L equals to V s R L by voltage divider rule. This we have find out by voltage divider rule for circuit shown in figure A. By applying voltage divider rule, we have determined the load voltage V L, which has come out to be this. Similarly, we have calculated the load voltage for this. For here, we can first of all find out the load current V L, I L load current, and by applying this current divider rule, it will be R p upon R p plus R L into the current source, that is I s. So, once this load current is calculated, we can find out the voltage drop across this load, that is V L equals to I L into R L, and when we substitute this I L from this equation, when we substitute this value of V L from this equation, we get the expression V L equals to this. Now, if these two sources are equivalent in nature, then the two load voltage will be same, and equating on these two equations, we get the condition that V s equals to R p into I s and or R s equals to I s, and also we get the condition R p equals to R s. So, for these two practical sources to be equivalent, we have the condition that their internal resistances must be same, and secondly, the source voltage and the source current are related according to this particular relation. So, this is the two conditions which are to be satisfied for the source to be electrically equivalent. Now, quickly we go through some of the problems where we will be using this source transformation to find out the different quantities required in the network. So, in this particular example, it has been given to us that we have a current source and we have to determine the current through this 4.7 kilo ohm resistance. So, what we can do is we can transform this current source into voltage source. So, what we will do is we will multiply the value of this resistance with this current source, and this becomes 45 volt. and for voltage source this 5 kilo ohm resistance will come in series and we get this equivalent circuit. We apply KVL in this and we find out the current through this 4.7 kilo ohm resistance. Similarly, in this particular circuit we have to find out the current I x through 4.7 kilo ohm after performing source transformation on the voltage source. So, when we transform this voltage source into current source, so this 5 volt divided by 5 kilo ohm. So, this gives us a current of 1 milliampere. This gives us a current of 1 milliampere. So, we have replaced this 5 volt source by a 1 milliampere current source, and then this 5 kilo ohm resistance which was initially in series has come in parallel with this, and then we can write down the equation for this. So, 1 milliampere current is flowing from this side, 1 milliampere current is flowing through this side, and we know that the current through this 47 kilo ohm resistance is I x. So, it means that current through this 5 kilo ohm resistance will be 2 minus I x, and since these two resistances are in parallel, so the potential drop across these two resistances will be same. So, we can write down 2 current into resistance, that is 2 minus I x into 5 equals to 47 times I x, and which we solve to get 192 micro ampere. So, another example which contains a dependent source. So, we can again use this transformation. Now, this V x is this dependent voltage source has a value of 51 V x, where V x is the potential drop across this 2 ohm resistance. So, what we can do is we can write V x equals to current through this resistance I into 2 ohm. Okay. So, we have replaced this V x, the dependent term here, by the current through this network. Now, first step is we transform this current source into a voltage source, that is 15 volt, and this 3 ohm resistance come in series with this 4 ohm resistance, and this can be directly replaced by a single resistance of 7 ohm, since these two are in series. In the next step, we again apply transformation theorem, and then we have changed that voltage source into a current source, and we are left with this final network, where reduced network, where we have applied KVL and we get the equation value of current to be 21.28 milliampere. Then quickly we go through the summary of the source transformation. A common goal in source transformation is to end up with either all current sources or voltage sources in the circuit. It means that if we are giving any network which contains both current sources as well as voltage sources, then it should be our objective. Our objective is be either to convert all the current sources into voltage sources or voltage sources into current sources, but we have to be very sure that we have to look into the steps which leads us to reduced analysis. So, this is especially true if it makes nodal or mesh analysis easier. So, our goal is to transform that particular source transformation to that particular source which makes our nodal or mesh analysis easier. Also, there is no restriction on how many number of times we can apply source transformation. You can apply source transformation any number of times. The only objective is finally we get a resulting circuit which is simpler for analysis. So, repeated source transformation can be used to simplify a circuit by allowing resistors and sources to be eventually combined. So, there is no restriction on how many number of times we can apply source transformation. It can be applied n number of times. Then third point, the resistor value does not change during a source transformation, but it is not the same resistor. It means that if we are transforming a voltage source into a current source, then the position of the resistance changes, or when we are transforming a current source into a voltage source, again the position of the resistance are changing. It means that if we are transforming a voltage source into current source, the series resistance becomes the parallel resistance, and if we are transforming a current source into a voltage source, then the parallel resistance is becoming or changed to series resistance. So, this means that the current or voltage associated with the original resistor are irrevocably lost when we perform a source transformation. If the voltage or current associated with a particular resistor is used as a controlling variable for a dependent source, it should not be included in any source transformation. The original resistor must be retained in the final circuit untouched. It means that this point says that if we need not to transform, or we cannot apply source transform to dependent sources. Okay. If the voltage or current associated with a particular resistor is used as a controlling variable for a dependent source, it should not be included in any source transformation. As we had discussed in the previous example, that we were having a voltage dependent source of 51 Vx, and Vx was the value of the value across the Vx was the voltage across the resistance of 2 ohm. So, we need not to change the position, or we need not to touch that particular resistance, because the controlling quantity is depending upon that value of resistance. Next point, if the voltage or current associated with a particular element is of interest, that element should not be included in any source transformation, and the original element must be retained in the final circuit untouched. Then in source transformation, the head of the current source arrow corresponds to positive terminal of the voltage sources, and a source transformation or a current source and resistor requires that the two elements be in parallel, and if we are going for source transformation on a voltage source and resistance, then it is required that the two should be in series. Now, next is the duality theorem. Duality is a transformation in which circuit currents and voltages are interchanged. Two phenomena are said to be dual if they are described by equation of the same mathematical form. Now, for example, if we look at the following relationship where voltage is related to resistance, then the dual of this will be voltage replaced by current, and current replaced by voltage, and resistance will become conductance. So, the dual relation of V equals to I R is I equals to G B. Similarly, the voltage drop across inductor V equals to L d I upon d t is equivalent to the current across the capacitor, that is I equals to C d V by d t. Then voltage across the capacitor, that is 1 by C integral I d t, is equivalent to current across the inductor, that is I equals to. So, you see the dual relationship, voltage is changing to current, capacitor is changing to inductor, and so on. The principal quantities and concepts involved in the two methods based on KVL and KCL are dual of each other, because in case of KVL we consider the loop voltages, and in case of match currents, and in case of KCL we consider the node voltages. So, therefore, they are dual of each other. So, this principle where we are finding out the dual of the two elements is known as principle of duality. A voltage source can be converted into an equivalent current source, and a current source can be converted into an equivalent voltage source. This is what we say that by principle of duality. Therefore, the circuit elements RLC have some dual relationship. Duality can also appear as a relationship between two networks. For example, an RLC series circuit with voltage excitation is dual of an RLC parallel circuit with current excitation. As we can see from these two equations, for a series RLC circuit, we write down the equation V equals to I R plus L d I dt plus 1 by C integral I dt, and for a parallel circuit, what we can write down is V becomes I current, voltage becomes current, the dual of voltage is current, then the dual of current becomes voltage, resistance becomes conductance, inductance become capacitance, and so on. So, if we know equation in one form, then directly we can write down the dual of that equation. Then the convention for reference polarity requires that the clockwise current should be represent positive polarity, and anti-clockwise current represents negative polarity. Then if we are considering the voltage, then the voltage rise will be the clockwise direction of current, and the drop will be the anti-clockwise direction. Now, these are the some of the dual quantities which we will be taking up in our further course. Current is equivalent to voltage, resistance conductance, inductance becomes capacitance, reactance becomes susceptance, impedance becomes admittance, mesh or become node, node become loop become node pair. Then mesh current is dual to node voltage, loop current is equivalent to node pair voltage, link becomes a tree branch, then link becomes tree branch voltage, and tree current becomes link voltage. then tie set matrix become cut set matrix, short circuit become open circuit, and parallel path becomes series path. So, whenever we are required to find out the dual of any network, we have to keep these things in mind, that which quantity is dual of which. So, we quickly go again once through this recap of these quantities. We have current to voltage, resistance to conductance, inductance to capacitance, reactance to susceptance, impedance to admittance, match to node, loop to node pair. Then match current becomes node voltage, loop current becomes node pair voltage, link become tree branch, and then tree current become link voltage, tie set matrix become cut set, short circuit will be replaced by open circuit, and parallel path will become series path. Now, with this we see the steps for construction of a dual network, where first of all we place a dot inside each independent loop of the network. Then these are the they are connected to the non reference nodes of the dual network. A dot is placed outside the network corresponding to the reference node. All internet dots are connected by dash line crossing the common branch and placing the elements which are dual of the elements of the original network, and all internet dots are connected to the external dots by dash line crossing all external branches and placing dual elements of the original network. Now, using these we can directly see some problems where a network is given to us. So, it contains a voltage source, a resistance, and a current source. So, using the principle of duality, the voltage will be transformed to current, then resistance will be replaced by conductance, current will become voltage, series will become parallel, parallel becomes series. So, we can obtain the dual of this network, and what we will do is this voltage source will become a current source of same value, that is 100 ampere. Then this 3 ohm resistance which is in series with this voltage source will come in parallel with this, that is series becoming parallel. Then this 4 ohm resistance is parallel to this. So, it will be in series with this 1 by 3 ohm resistance, and this 5 ampere current source will be replaced by 5 volt, and this 5 ohm resistance which is in parallel with this current source will be replaced by this. So, this is the method which we apply for finding out the dual of any given network. Now, a circuit which contains the inductance, capacitance, and resistance. So, this is our voltage source or generator voltage Vg, and we have a current source of magnitude I naught. So, what we have to do is we have to first of all this voltage source will be becoming current source, that is Ig. This current source will become a voltage source of value V naught. This R1 will become G1, this L1 will become C1, this R2 will become G2, this R3 will become G3, L2 will become C2, and C will become L. So, these are the dual quantities. First of all, in the given network we write down the dual quantities, and then we see whether they are in series or in parallel, and accordingly this voltage source becomes current source, and this resistance which is in series with this will come in parallel, and it will become G1, and then we can replace this current source by a voltage source, and then we can see that these two resistances are in parallel. So, they will be in series, and we get the dual of this network. Now, moving on to the next problem where we have to draw the dual of this network. So, again this is the network given to us, we go for the transformation part, that is voltage source into current source, and current, this is our dependent source, this is our independent source. So, this dependent source depends upon the current I2, I1 which is flowing in this particular portion of the network. So, we can apply directly this principle and we can transform that into a given network. And the last problem, again we have this network which is given to us, and we have the resistance, inductance, and capacitance. So, we can apply the principle of duality by replacing this voltage source by a current source, and this resistance by conductance, capacitance by inductance, and inductance by capacitance, series path by parallel path, and this. So, we stop at this point, and in the next lecture we will be starting with the next topic, that is the network theorems.